videos.
Shut up and sit down.
Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today what I wanted to show you is I actually found a little, just jumping right into it, I found a little oil in the spark plug tube. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So once you pull the coil packs off and you look down in there, the spark plug tube, that's where the spark plug goes into, and then it screws into the head. So this is cylinder 6, and I actually found a good amount of oil. So what that tells me is that the grommet, the rubber seal or the grommet that goes around the tube, is probably bad. I mean, it has like 100,000 miles on it, but I started seeing a lot of excessive smoke out of the crankcase ventilation. So out of that rear filter right there, there was a lot of smoke. So it started, I kind of started worrying. But just to kind of recap, ever since I put the transmission on, the car's been doing weird shit. So the coolant, so the coolant temp, it would be normal, and then at wide open throttle it would drop down to like 0, like super cold. I ended up finding that one of the rear water passage hoses was leaking. So I went ahead and I just tightened that up, and that seems to be good. But then I also started finding oil coming off of the oil drain line, and I ended up addressing that, and I fixed that because the oil drain, it's gravity fed. So if it goes uphill whatsoever, or even if it sits level, it's not going to drain properly. So it always needs to have a negative grade or a negative like decline on the oil return because it's gravity fed. So I fixed that, and it stopped burning oil. Like there was white smoke coming out from under the car, fucking out the exhaust, and after I did that, it stopped. It was perfect. But then, like I said, the crankcase ventilation, the filter started having like a bunch of smoke, and I'm like, fuck, dude. So what that tells me is that there is blow by past the oil rings. Either that or enough oil built up in the spark plug tube, and it started leaking into the cylinder, burning it off. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do a leak down test to see if I could find the issue and see if it's a compression issue with the rings, see if it's a ring issue, because these cars are known to have really tight ring gap, and whenever you go into boost, and it like really heats up the just to kind of dumb it down or put it simply, the ring gap, once it heats up, they will butt together, and once they butt together, they kind of jam up, and they will either break a piston ringland or score the walls or something. So these J's are known, that's the #1 cause, is these stock cast pistons, the ringlands end up breaking because the rings they butt together. So I'm gonna run a compression check. I'm gonna pull all the plugs to do that, and I'm gonna look and I'm gonna inspect, see what I can find. But it was missing yesterday, like it wasn't running properly. And then me being me, I don't baby it, I push it to see what the issue is. And it started missing really bad, started smoking. So let's see what we can find. These are the front 3 coil packs. This is going to be 4, 5, 6, and you can clearly see on cylinder number 6 it has a shitload of oil. So that was the spark plug tube seal or gasket, whatever you want to call it. That was bad. So this time, luckily, it actually pulled out, so it doesn't seem like there's that much or as much as there was before. But oh yeah, you can definitely, you can't see it, but wow, there's about oil, I would say if this is a spark plug, it's about halfway up. So definitely sitting on the spark plug. I don't know if that's it, because honestly that's a pretty tight seal with the spark plug screwed in. Like I said, guys, unfortunately I'm kind of leaning towards a bad piston ringland. I hope not, but fuck, if that's it, I mean, that's it. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just sticking the spark plug socket in and just keep pulling it out, wiping it off, trying to get as much oil as I can. I don't know if you guys can see that. It has a decent amount of oil there, but just keep doing that so I can get a better look at the piston and the cylinder whenever I bore scope it, because this is my Wi-Fi bore scope. Very, very good, you guys. It's very clear. I believe it's 1080 in resolution, and I think it was like $9 or $10 on eBay. Very cost effective, and it's helped me out quite a bit. That spark plug was not like that the last time I checked it. That is basically, that's a spark plug fouling out right there. See how dark the white electrode is right there on the inside. When I pulled it before, it had a little brown, not much. It was mostly white. Literally within the last week, that is what it looks like. So that's indicating that there's definitely a cracked ringland. I'm 98%, or I would say I'm 80% sure that it's a cracked piston ringland at this moment, because this plug was not like this before, and I'm pretty sure the rest of them are going to look like that. Let's go ahead and pull cylinder 5 out real quick. Yep. Oh no, that one's a little better. You see that one? It looks like it's on the fouling side, but it's not terrible, but it's getting there. Where this one is definitely, you can see the difference. You actually can see a little bit of oil. You can see a little bit of oil on there too. So let's compare the two. Oops. So you see how this one's a little shinier. And then I'm sure, let's pull this one, see what happens. And not terrible. Well, I thought this one would be fucked, but nope. So like I said, guys, look at that oil. You see where it gets? It got all the way to the second thread. So it looks like it actually didn't go into the cylinder. Like we got another winner, if you can see that. This was cylinder number 3. Fucking loaded up. I mean, loaded up with oil. So, all right, keep pulling them. At the moment, this one is really the only plug I would not put back in. It's just oily. And the camera's not really picking up how dark it really is, but compare to this one, I think you could tell the difference pretty well. I think this is a better view for you guys. So that's the one that I will not put back on, and then that's a good one that I just pulled out of cylinder number 2. You can see the difference clearly there. That one is definitely fouling out, so that would cause a misfire for sure. And down on power, all of these front all the front ones actually look a little darker than the rear. That one's okay. I'll put that one back in. This one's okay, but that one I'm probably not gonna do. So the dilemma I'm in right now is a stupid coil pack. The rubber sleeve or cap that goes on it is stuck in cylinder number 3 on the rear head. So it's a super pain in the ass. I can't see what I'm doing. I can't pull it out, and without that rubber cap coming off of the spark plug, I can't get a spark plug socket around it, so I can't get the fucking thing off. None of my pliers are long enough, and then the screwdrivers that I put in, I can't get a good grip on it. So I'm gonna keep fighting with it and update you guys when I'm done. Well, if that ever happens to you guys, luckily I had these little picks right here, just a Harbor Freight little pick, and I was able to catch onto it. You can see it's super oily. That oil obviously creates like a suction, like water would or like quicksand, so it doesn't want to pull out. I was able just to hook onto it and take it on. You can see it has a little bit of damage. I got plenty of these boots, so I didn't really care. I'll just put another one on it. Now we can do the compression check. You want to talk about a what the fuck moment? Look at this plug. It's beautiful, and it came out of the one that was filled with oil. And then this one didn't have any oil in the tube, but it's fouled like crazy. Go figure. Alright, if you've never done a compression check, it's super easy. Like I said, got to remove all the spark plugs. This is just a Harbor Freight generic spark plug or compression checker tester. You pick out the appropriate size for your spark plug size. You can match it just whenever you pull the spark plug, just match the diameter. and it doesn't say which one that is, but you just hook this guy up into here. All right, make sure he's good to go, and then you just go ahead and thread it on into the spark plug location, and then with the pedal pressed all the way, because it needs to open up your throttle body, then you crank it over. I do about 5 to 7 turns, or revolution, that it goes whoom boom whoom boom whoom boom whoom boom, and I count that to 7, and then I come out and then I check, and you do that for all cylinders. And before ever trying to rotate the motor over to do the compression check, you need to pull out the fuel pump fuse, which is going to be the first 15A in the middle row from the right. So it's a 10A, then a 7.5, then a 7.5, and then it's the first 15. And that will, because you don't need any spark, because you don't want the car to start. So do that. And being the car's not going to start, I got a little solar power charger on it, a little solar charger hooked up to the battery, just to give it a little trickle while I'm doing this. So I have my clutch switch removed. Look at that chicken. Okay, so here we go. Like I said, I do about 5 to 7. I'm going to do 7 just to keep it consistent. Yeah, that doesn't sound good at all. That sounds terrible. Oh, you know what? I forgot to what? That is a lot of compression. I need to check the cylinder and see what's going on in there. That's a lot. 250, about 254, 255. That is a lot of compression, guys. That's not, all right. That's a lot of compression. Okay, so what I did not do is hold the pedal to the floor while cranking, and that 250 is a lot of compression, guys. So I'm gonna back this down to 5 revolutions. All right, foot to the floor. You hear that? The motor just does not sound right. It sounds weird. That doesn't sound right at all, you guys. Let's see what it is. And it's 240. Okay, so I'm gonna get a piece of paper and I'm gonna write that down. Cylinder 6 was 240. So here's the sheet from the last time I did it on the first J32A3. You can see cylinder 6 was 205. But right now it's reading 240. So it says I did 5 seconds or 5 turns, rotations, I don't know, but let's go ahead and write that down. And just to check the oil, I've done this numerous times, but you can see it's not milky. It's regular color, looks clean, looks good. If it was milky, you guys, that would tell me, or usually indicate, that coolant is getting into the oil. And you can also smell it to see if it smells like oil or like gas, because if there is a cracked sleeve, you'll end up getting gas too, because obviously you spray gas into the cylinder to compress it or to ignite it. So that gas, those fumes would start getting into the oil, and then same with the coolant. The coolant would start leaking into the combustion chamber and then getting into the oil. And then, so it's telling me that there's either there was just a shitload of oil built up and it was seeping through and it fouled out the plugs, or again, it's pointing to the piston ringland. Only thing I can think of right now. You can't really get much closer than that. 240 on number 5. Well, there it is, guys. I have looks like 5. I have basically no compression on cylinder number 4. And if you remember, cylinder 4 was the fouled plug. That's the only one that's super fouled, or the only one that's really fouled at all. You see that right there? So it looks like cylinder 4 is going to be the bad one. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to let you guys hear what I hear. You'll hear a huge change. It's gonna turn over way faster. So cylinder 4. All right, now listen to how fast it spins over. Like there's zero resistance. See? You hear that? It just wee 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 wee, like almost like it doesn't go. No, almost like it doesn't stop. It just keeps spinning. Wee 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 wee. Where the other one's like. Just to continue the compression check, I'm gonna go ahead and check cylinder number 1, 2, and 3, just to close it out. Obviously, we know the motor's hurt. So, here's the last one, which is cylinder number 3, and we got about 228. 228. All right, so here it is. Cylinder 1, we got 230. Cylinder 2, 218, perfectly fine within spec. Cylinder 3, 228, again within spec. So cylinder 2 is a little down, but still very good. Cylinder 4, 10. Cylinder 5, 242. Cylinder 6, 240. So it seems that the compression on the front head is a little more than what it was on the rear head. What that tells me is that maybe the machinist might have machined off a little more on this head than he did that head, or maybe this head was already machined a little bit, because you can definitely see that trend right there. You see a 240 basically. I'm pretty sure that would have been 240, and then you can see the 230 range, or 220 230 range, so which is actually quite a bit more than what my last motor was. My last J32 was in the 200 range, right around that 200 range, where this is up in the 230 240, and that's probably why it was making so much horsepower per psi of boost, because it was making what, 28 29 wheel horsepower per 1 psi. That's insane. That is just crazy. And like I said, guys, I'm 90% sure the issue was a pinched ring, because as the ring heats up, this is the gap's very close, but as it heats up, it expands, and then it gaps like that, and it'll basically butt and twist like that, and it'll jam up into the piston ringland, and that's all she wrote, you guys. So moving forward, what I'm gonna do, I'm probably gonna take my time, and I'm gonna bring you guys on this journey this time too. The J32s have not been a positive experience, but then again, guys, you got to remember, the first J32, it was 100% my fault. I did everything right on that motor. I gapped the rings, I did everything I should, rehoned it, checked all the bearings, and it ended up being a stupid timing issue. I've told you before, bringing the computer down, I set the Flash Pro module on top, and it must have increased timing tables. And as always, guys, you live and you learn. You know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I'll never do that again. Obviously, whenever I'm tuning other people's car, I never leave the room. I don't do any of that. That was just a weird experience, or a weird situation for me, because like I said, it's my personal car. I actually have to move with the computer and the module down. And like I said, now I unhook the module, I close the computer, and then I double and triple check everything I go over before I ever upload it to the car. So don't make the same mistake I did, guys, because I had a beautiful J32A3 running tits. Now this one, this was the junkyard. If you remember, I was kind of scrambling. I hurry up and I sourced this one. I got the motor for $400. These are the heads that came with it. So it's basically the entire long block. It had a fire. It had a top end fire on that motor. I got it for $400. Basically just examined it really quick, looked over it, and put it on, and redid the heads, and that was it. So luckily, at least I still have good heads. This time, at least I didn't have a head get taken out. But these heads will go over to the J35A7, because the J35A7 has the VCM, or it has it can actually turn off one bank. It can turn off the rear bank and just run on 3 cylinders, where my car doesn't do that. So I need to swap over the heads to match, because I don't have that VCM, or I forgot what it's called, capability. I also have a J35A3 that I could put in and maybe save this one. I'll have to see. I'll weigh my options and see what's the best option for me. But right now it looks like I'm going to definitely pull those motors apart, and then I'm going to re-gap the rings on that, so this doesn't happen. I'm going to check all the bearings and make sure it's good to go, because honestly guys, I want to have a good little daily driver. That's what I'm doing right now. The reason I don't care and I keep going through motors is because I want to find the limit for these motors, how to safely run them at 500, 600 wheel horsepower daily on a stock block. No forged anything. And this, honestly, this is what I have to go through. So and I'm doing it so you guys don't have to go through it. So for the OG guys that have been here since the beginning, first I want to thank you, but second, I don't have to tell you guys, you know what my ultimate goals were with these motors. I want to find the limit, the max, basically the most power that you can run daily on these J's turboed. I thought and I'm thinking 500 is probably the limit that you want to run a stock motor with stock ring gap and everything. Currently the car was running fine. It's smoking a little bit, but it definitely feels down on power, which is the whole reason I'm going through this right now. So technically I could keep driving it, but I want to find out what's really going on with the motor before I start going into it. And unfortunately, in order to find the limit, this is the shit that you have to do. I've spoke to a few people and they pretty much agree. These motors can be pushed to 600-700 horsepower with upgraded pistons and the proper ring gap. But for 100% stock block with the stock ring gap and everything, I'm thinking 450 to 500. If you want to play it safe, go 450. If you want to push the limit a little bit, go E85 and go 500 wheel horsepower. Now if you put just simply stock upgrade, or if you simply put upgraded pistons, forged pistons with the proper ring gap, you can push these motors to 600-700 wheel horsepower, because like I said, the weak point is going to be the cast pistons on these stock motors, and it's going to be the really tight ring gap, piston ring gap that they have. So those are the limiting factors, and what I'm trying to figure out, and unfortunately what I seem to be finding out, is where the weak spots are. So let's keep going. Alright, so I wanted to pull the valve cover just to see if there could have been one of the valves that were like stuck open, causing it to have no compression, because I've had one of these locking nuts for the valve lash come loose, and basically the or tighten. It was loose, but it also tightened, so it kept the valve from closing. It was always stuck open, and I found during a leak down that all the air was leaking from there, and it ended up being one of these locking, I don't know if you could see it, one of these locking nuts for the valve lash. But as you guys can see, these heads are immaculate. I mean, they are beautiful, super clean. So once again guys, it's pointing to the block not being able to take the power, or maybe the cylinder or the piston, the cylinder temps were just too hot, and it superheated, or not superheated, but it heated that ring just enough that the gap came together and it pinched and took out the piston. So it looks like I found the limit, at least for what I was running. Maybe I could have ran the AFRs a little richer to keep the cylinder temps down. That's a possibility, but I know 100% a way to eliminate that, any of this happening, is by filing the ring gap, opening that ring gap a little bit. But again guys, that was not my intentions for these motors. My intentions were a 100% stock bottom block, stock short block. Basically the entire block, pistons, rods, crank, everything was stock, and the only thing that was touched were the upper, was our HalferLand performance heads, our HalferLand performance cams, and that was it. And obviously NA, we've proved great numbers, put a lot of power down, ran those motors NA for a very long time, but it seems we like to push our turbo setups a little too hard, at least on the stock motor, stock block. So again guys, I'm thinking 450, 500 is the absolute max that you want to go on these stock motors with the stock ring gap. I would say if you're going to try for 500, I would run full E85 and run it on the richer side to try to keep those cylinder temps down and keep that piston ring from expanding. Alright guys, I need your help. What do you think I should do? Should I continue on finding the limits for the J series motor with a stock block, or should I just say fuck it and start building one? Because I have two J35s over there, so I'm thinking at a minimum, pistons and ring gap. If you do those two, I think the motor can do 650, 700 horsepower to the wheels, with no problem. Definitely 650. 7 is pushing it because those rods are gonna wanna, they're gonna wanna give out around that time. So I'm thinking 600 wheel horsepower daily. Only thing it has is upgraded pistons and gapped rings, piston rings. So comment below, guys. Let me know what you think I should do. Should I give up on this? Because obviously you see I'm putting a lot of time into this for you guys, trying to figure out what the limit is, so you know you can push your J that far and know that it's going to be relatively safe. So let me know, guys. Like I said, I do all this content for you. All right, so we have a few options on the table. Option 1, take the J35, swap everything over, and just throw it in there as is. Option 2, take the J35, pull the pistons, gap the rings, put everything back in, and then go that way. That's probably the safest route if you want to go stock motor, is just to open that ring gap. Again, I've said it probably like 30 times already in this video, but that would probably be the safest way to go 100% stock motor, is just to pull those pistons, open up the ring gap, put them back in, slap it in the car. The next option would be, if that block is still good and it was just the piston that cracked and no scoring on the walls, even if there's scoring on the walls, I could probably rehone if it's not too bad. If it needs to be bored out, then there would be an option of going aftermarket pistons, which is option number 4. So let's go back to option 3. Option 3, if it was just the pistons and the pistons are fucked up, I have good pistons from that motor. I can pull those pistons, gap the rings again, and then put it back in. So that block would still, it would be the same block, only with re-gapped stock piston rings, and that's it. Honestly, I'd probably get new piston rings. I wouldn't reuse them or anything like that. I don't know, or would I? Because those only had 27,000 miles on them. These were unknown, and you saw the compression. The compression was good across the board, except for that one cylinder. So those are the 4 options. All of them are with stock blocks still, but the only ones would be upgraded pistons. So let me know what you guys think. As always, guys, I hope you liked the video. Check me out on Patreon if you want to start on a if you have any questions. We do hold a monthly Q&A, and you guys can actually ask me any questions that you want. As long as you're subscribed for the month, you can PM me, private message me. I'll answer any questions you have. As always, guys, thank you. Please thumbs up, please likes, please subscribe, please support the channel just by doing that simple things. All right, guys, take care.